You count them twice because the first number couldn't be right. 20 lifeboats. Tonight, this ship carries 2,224 people. You do the math a third time. It doesn't get better. The boats have room for half. You haven't told anyone. You're not sure you're allowed to. The night you counted the lifeboats, you're a steward on E-deck. In the corridor the crew has nicknamed Scotland Road, 350 feet of straight passage running most of the length of the ship. Third-class quarters. Your passengers trust you because they don't know anyone else on board to trust. You've been on this ship 4 days, long enough to know its rhythms, not long enough to know most of your passengers' names. This morning at breakfast, a woman traveling from County Cork with 3 children asked you a question you didn't know the answer to. Mrs. Kelly, how many lifeboats are on this ship? You said you'd find out. You didn't say that in 4 days of service, nobody had ever asked you that before. You went and counted 20. 16 wooden boats on the davits. 4 collapsibles lashed to the deckhouse roofs. You did the arithmetic in your head standing under one of them and it didn't come out. The ship is 882 feet long, the largest moving object ever built by human hands. Tonight, she carries over 2,200 people. The boats have room for a little more than half of them. You catch Rourke, another steward, 12 years on the White Star Line, folding blankets in a linen cupboard, and you tell him the number quietly. Rourke. That's fine because we're never going to need them. Have you looked at this ship? She could take on the whole Atlantic and shrug. You don't argue. The papers call her unsinkable. So do the officers. So, until this morning, did you? You go back to work, you just keep counting. Every deck you cross, every corner you turn, you count the covers on the davits, as if the number is going to change if you check often enough. At 9:40 in the evening, a wireless warning arrives from a nearby steamer, the Mazaba, reporting heavy pack ice and icebergs dead ahead on your course. The wireless operator, buried under a backlog of paying passengers' personal telegrams bound for New York, sets it aside for later. It never reaches the bridge. You don't know any of this. You're 2 decks below, helping a woman from Ireland find her missing trunk. At 11:40 p.m., you feel it before you understand it. A shudder along the hull, faint enough that most passengers keep sleeping through it. A few will later say it felt like the ship rolled over a marble. It isn't a collision, it's a graze. 300 feet of hull opened along 6 compartments. Titanic was designed to stay afloat with 4 flooded, not 6. You pass through B-deck on an errand and overhear it. Thomas Andrews, the ship's designer, speaking to the captain in a chart room with the door half open. His voice is very quiet and it uses one word twice, hour, maybe 2, then he goes quiet. The number you counted this morning is not a curiosity anymore, it's an arithmetic problem with faces. You go back down to Scotland Road, you know before anyone tells you what you're about to be asked to do. Your job doesn't change, everything around it does. Wake the passengers, get them into life vests, get them up. Third class is deepest in the ship and farthest from the boats. Long corridors, narrow stairs, a language barrier for many of your passengers, who between them speak Irish and Swedish and Arabic and half a dozen dialects you couldn't name if you tried, and a crew that was never drilled for this exact night. You knock on doors of people whose names you don't know. Some don't understand what you're telling them. Some think it's a joke. The ship is unsinkable, isn't it? Some ask about their trunks. You lie. You tell them the trunks will be fine. You tell them everything will be fine. You tell them, get up now. You lead a line of them up Scotland Road by lamplight, telling them to stay calm, though your own hands are shaking. Behind you, women you helped carry trunks aboard 4 days ago now carry children you'd never seen before. At the base of a stairwell up to second class, a gate. Somebody, somewhere, gave an order about keeping third-class passengers below until the upper decks had boarded. Or maybe nobody gave that order, and it's just what happens in the confusion of the night. Historians a century from now will still argue about it. All you know is, the gate is closed, you don't have the key, and there are 40 people behind you. You break it open with a fire axe. The boat deck is not what you expected. There is no chaos, not yet. It is quieter here than the corridor you just left. Officers loading boats in the near dark under a rule nobody had drilled. Women and children first. You watch boat number 1 lower into the Atlantic carrying 12 people. It was built for 40. You count again out of pure habit. 20 boats. If every boat leaves half empty, the number you carried around in your head this morning is not conservative anymore. It's optimistic. You stand at the rail with the third-class passengers you brought up. Some of them are your responsibility in a way that no deck plan says, but that your whole chest feels. The officers don't call for them. The boats keep lowering with room to spare. You did the math this morning. You did it correctly. Nobody wanted the number. Now the ocean is going to prove it for you. On the Titanic. Down where the first-class passengers gather, a band led by Wallace Hartley keeps playing on the sloping deck, in evening dress as the ship tilts further beneath them. Nobody ordered them to stay, they just did. By 2 a.m., the forward deck is already underwater. The stern begins to rise. The lights flicker. They hold for one impossible final moment. They go out. At 2:20 a.m., Titanic breaks in two and disappears. The ocean around you is 28 degrees Fahrenheit, 4 degrees below freezing. In water this cold, most people don't drown. Their hearts stop first, usually within 15 minutes. You go into that water. You are one of the lucky ones, hauled onto an overturned collapsible lifeboat, packed shoulder to shoulder with 24 strangers, all of you too afraid to shift your weight in case it rolls. You wait 4 hours. At 4:10 in the morning, the lights of the Carpathia break the horizon. 706 people are pulled from lifeboats that morning. Over 1,500 are not. 2 years later, in London, delegates from more than a dozen nations sign a treaty called the International Convention for the Safety of Life at Sea. One line in ink, so short it fits on a single page. Every ship must carry lifeboats for every passenger on board. Every cruise ship, every ferry, every ocean liner that has sailed anywhere on Earth since exists inside a rule you counted, one deck at a time, on a morning nobody thanked you for. You didn't stop the ship from sinking. You didn't save 1,500 people. You counted a number nobody wanted to hear. On a morning nobody wanted to hear it. And then you led 40 strangers up a dark corridor toward the only chance any of them had. Tomorrow, history will remember the Titanic. It will never remember you. Every ship that sails after tonight remembers it for you.